Hi folks, and welcome along to my YouTube channel. Thank you for finding me. So I thought I'd do a little video. It's actually the 31st of December 2021, New Year's Eve, and we're just on that brink of people going and buying fitness machines for the post-Christmas and New Year fitness spree that seems to happen every single year. For the first sort of 6 weeks in January through to the middle of February, you get an absolute surge in gym memberships and sales of fitness machines. And people often ask me, John, you know, what sort of fitness machine would you recommend? Because I've been in the business as an engineer for best part of 35 years, and I've seen an awful lot of machines. So I'm kind of in a unique position as an independent person. I've got no sales outfit, you know, I'm not being paid by anybody to make recommendations. This is just my opinion. And I thought, well, I'll do a little video on that because there's probably lots of people, certainly at this time of year, might find my point of view of interest. I'm not saying you have to, you know, follow what I say, but I have got something to say about it. And I thought controversially I'd call this video why I don't recommend Nordic Track and Proform. And why is that controversial? Well, of course, Nordic Track and Proform are the world's largest manufacturer of home fitness equipment, and I wouldn't buy one of their products, and I would recommend that you don't either. It's just my point of view. It's a little bit controversial, but there you go. So why is that then, John? Why make a statement like that? Why wouldn't you buy them? Well, the answer is quite simply, in my opinion, you get with Proform and Nordic Track exactly what you've paid for and no more. Exactly what you pay for and no more. Now that sounds quite a bizarre thing to say because you know, you would expect to get exactly what you've paid for and no more. But let me just put a bit of context around that. I've seen plenty of Nordic Track and Proform machines. Let's think of treadmills, for example, because they're probably the most, they're certainly the most complicated of all the machines. And Nordic Track and Proform have designed their products to such a level of detail that provided you buy the right product and you use it and set it up and maintain it exactly according to their instructions, then the chances are, not guaranteed, but the chances are you're going to have a trouble-free life with it until the end of its life, which might be 8 years, 10 years, something like that. However, if any of the variables go out of tolerance, so let's say, for example, on this running belt is so thin that it will last, provided you look after it and maintain it and use it exactly as they say. It should last the lifetime of the machine, but if you don't, it's going to wear out. If it wears out, the amount of current that the machine draws suddenly goes quite high. That causes the motor and the control board to overload. And when they overload, they step over that sort of tolerance of being just what you've paid for. Oh, you've not paid for any sort of overload situations, and the motor and the controller fail. So not only do you then need a new running belt, but you also need a new controller and a new motor, and quite possibly a new running deck as well. And the whole thing, the whole scenario then becomes uneconomical to repair. The whole thing ends up in landfill, and that's the problem I have with it. These products are not designed to be used by normal people who don't worry too much about the environment that they're going to put them in and exactly how they're using it. We've all got better things to do than worry about stuff like that. But because you only get exactly what you've paid for, there is no headroom at all on any of these components so far as I can see. Now, I've designed fitness machines and I've built fitness machines, and I've also designed and built a whole load of other machines for industrial applications, and my kind of default position is I would always engineer in just a little bit of headroom. You don't want to go too mad because your customer ends up paying for something that they don't actually want or need. But Nordic Track and Proform seem to have taken that really to a very, very sort of cliff edge, really, in that, and I've got a lot of respect for that as a design engineer, knowing your product so well. And you know, and Nordic Track and Proform, if you're watching this, I do have a lot of respect for your design engineers, because you are able so far as I can see, to be able to design and build your products to that cliff edge, which is fantastic. But from a user's point of view, please can you just give us a little bit more headroom, so that if you have a running belt that wears out, that we can actually change the running belt in a cost-effective way that doesn't mean we have to replace the motor and the controller as well. If you could do that, that would just be fantastic. And there were plenty of other manufacturers who do that already. And if you can offer the sort of features and benefits that your products have with just that little bit of extra headroom to make these products repairable, then I think the world would be a better place. And then maybe I would recommend your products. So that's what it boils down to. You get exactly what you pay for. You've got this cliff edge on their components that make up their products. And if you step over that, you're going to run into problems, and you get this cascade effect where, because one of the components has stepped out of line, you get a sequence of events happen, and invariably their products seem to be uneconomical to repair. So that's it. That's the reason. What should you look out for then? You know, I mean, that perhaps doesn't help you in the sense of, if you are going to buy a new machine, what product should you buy? Well, let me give you some tips, some top tips based on my experience as to what you could look out for, what you should look out for, in fact. Tip number one is buy a product that's going to suit your need. In other words, do your research, determine how much you're going to use it, how many users is it going to have, how often is it going to be used? Is it going to be used every day? How long every day? Would it be 20 minutes? Is it an hour a day? Is it more than an hour a day because there might be 2 or 3 users? Take all of those factors into consideration and look for a product and take advice before you buy. Make sure that you're buying something that's actually aligned with what you need it to do. Tip number 2, set it up correctly. Read the instructions, build it correctly. Take your time building it. Make sure that it's set up correctly. Everything's nice and tight. It's been properly lubricated as it should be. Tip number 3, well, then use it correctly. You know, if it says that it shouldn't be stored in an outside garage or shed, well, don't store it in an outside garage or shed. If it says that it should be used for no more than an hour at a time, well, make sure that you're not using it for more than an hour at a time, because there's a reason for that. It's back to the design decisions that the manufacturer makes. Maintain it. All of these products need maintenance. They're going to need to be tightened up. They're going to need to be hoovered out and serviced, oil applied, lubricants, that kind of thing. If you get a little bit of squeak, make sure you address that problem before it turns into something that's likely to fracture. And finally, tip number 5, make sure that it's well supported. In other words, make sure you can get the spare parts for it, that there is a local supplier who can provide on-site service if you need it, and also the spare parts. There's a lot of manufacturers around who will support their products for maybe only 2 or 3 years, and there's a lot of risk that you take. You don't need me to tell you this about buying on eBay. You just don't know whether you're going to get that support. And whilst the product is working, of course, it's not a problem, but these are machines. They do need a little bit of TLC, and you can expect a little bit of maintenance to be done in order to get the best life out of the products. If you look after it, choose the right product, follow those top tips, there's no reason why you shouldn't get more than 10 years. 15, 20 years would be possible out of all these fitness machines. Let's keep them out of the landfill, and let's encourage these manufacturers to do the right thing and make them so that they can be repaired. There we go. I've been talking way too much. Hope you've enjoyed it. Have a great new year. Whatever you buy, good luck. If you need any further assistance, give me a shout. All the best.